I am very excited about this next guest. He hosts the Hannity Show at Fox News, and this week he released his brand new book, Live Free or Die. Sean Hannity, my good friend.
By the way, doesn't it look better this way? I
Right there,
my face.
right there.
It's like when I put my mask on.
Right there.
When I put my mask on, Eric, I look so much better. Hey, thank you for having me. We worked together all these years, and we've stayed in touch. And I got to give you some praise before we talk anything about me. Is you went through a personal tragedy, and then you took the worst hit that anybody can take in life, and then you turned it into something you once said to me, it can happen to you, it could happen to everybody, to help save other people from all of the pain that you and your family went through. And I admire what you've done. I've been at events that you've hosted. It's so important what you're saying there, and I know you got the First Lady to join you in a number of them. It is vital, it is critical, the things you're saying, also critical to stop the 90% of heroin crossing the border. They've now literally captured enough fentanyl that would kill every man, woman, and child in this country 5 times over. It is so scary.
You know, Sean, I got to say thank you for that, but also thank you in the midst of that, at some of the darkest times, you said, let's go tell your story, and you brought me on the radio show, and you made the phone calls. When I tell you I love you, Sean, I love Sean Hannity. His heart is this big.
Feelings
folks.
mutual.
The book, Live Free.
I
want to talk about the book, but first, Sean, can we just talk about the media? What's going on in the media? We have a president here who's trying to get reelected, and the media. There's a blurred line between news and opinion. We all know Sean Hannity, Eric Bolling. We live on the opinion side, but what's happening in the news side of the business? Let's just say MSNBC, CNN, they're doing very well in their ratings in the news side. You guys are kicking butt, Fox, on the opinion side. But what's happening in news?
Can I just, and this is just two friends talking here. I can tell you what I do. I'll just give you what I do for a living. Sure, people know me for my strong opinions. I've been on Fox 25 years, my 33rd year in talk radio. Eric, I am a talk show host. I am a member of the press. I don't say I'm a journalist. I'm not a journalist. What I am is a talk show host. I can produce thousands of hours of TV and radio of straight news, just no opinion. Here's the news of the day, maybe natural disasters, war, or just general issues. I just give it to you straight. We've done Hannity investigative reports. We vetted Obama when the media stayed away from that. They had an obligation to do it for the American people. They wouldn't touch it. I spent 3 years exposing this deep state abuse of power and corruption, vindicated completely. And I think more vindication is coming. While the media mob and the Democratic Party, they were lying, smearing, slandering, besmirching, all the character assassination, advancing conspiracy theories and hoaxes. That's, Eric, we're the exception. That was the 99%. So I do straight reporting. I do investigative reporting as part of my work. I do opinion, obviously. And then we talk about fun stuff, maybe football or whatever, cultural issues. We're honest with what we do. What we do is honest.
Let me ask you this, and this came up this week. There's a lot of us, I believe, that Joe Biden is trying to figure out a way not to debate Donald Trump on stage. Brian Stelter from CNN says, hey, that's ginned up by the right-wing media. Now, okay, I'll get you, blame me or call me right-wing media. However, the same week he says that, the New York Times, CNN themselves also both wrote stories about how it would be good. It wouldn't be a bad thing for Joe Biden not to be on that same debate stage. So how disingenuous can it be to point the finger at right-wing media, look at these the guys on the screen here, when their own companies are actually putting that stuff down?
Well, it's simple. They lie. I mean, it's that simple. Listen, imagine if either of us, in the course of our daily work, and we admit part of our job is opinion. We're very clear. We don't hide it. Straight on honest. Imagine if we, for 3+ years, lied about a Russia conspiracy hoax with Joe Biden, Barack Obama, whoever it happened to be, and we were wrong, and we were proven wrong. You know what would happen. I mean, they'd be calling for our firing every other day. they never talked about Hillary's violation of the Espionage Act. They never talked about subpoenaed emails, deleted, bleach bit hammers. They never talked about her dirty Russian disinformation dossier. The New York Times probably came the closest of any when they said, yeah, it was probably likely Russian disinformation from the beginning. They're not going to talk about the danger of people abusing their power. I always say the 1%, the deep state, as we call it, those within, the most prestigious premier law enforcement agency in the world, our FBI, but only 1%, and our premier intelligence in the world, the fact that they spied on an American president, they lied to a court. We know that they were warned that the information they were presenting to the FISA application that on the top says verified, they didn't verify a thing, but they were told not to trust it. And even when they did it the first time they had been warned, by the time they got to the third point, they had already interviewed Christopher Steele's sources who said, no, none of this is true. This is like bar talk. We never expected it to be used anywhere. Did they ever apologize? They dragged this country through hell for 3 years. Just like, here's how crazy and hypocritical you have to be. It's breathtaking hypocrisy if you're a liberal Democrat or a member of the media mob. So you want to impeach Donald Trump for a phone call that we all read with President Zelensky. The one fact witness, there was only one, said, well, what did Donald Trump say? I want nothing, no quid pro quo. He actually used the words. But to get there, you have to ignore the guy that's now going to be their favorite candidate, who's on tape bragging about the fact that, you're not getting the $1 billion, meaning our $1 billion, we, the people's $1 billion, unless you fire the prosecutor that's investigating my zero experience son Hunter, who's being paid millions of dollars, and you got 6 hours to do it. And son of a B, they did it. Now that's the real quid pro quo. That's how corrupt they are. They don't care about the truth. They've got an agenda. It is the biggest obstacle that Donald Trump is facing, as we now are in the 3-month march towards this election. I think it's a tipping point election, the most critical in our lifetime. The optimistic side of my book, live free or die. We can continue to be the greatest country God gave man. We can continue free market capitalism that has created a wealth and a standard of living, the envy of the world. And also, look at America. We have advanced the entire human condition all because of liberty and freedom. At the bottom, Erica, it's in Latin, it says live free or America dies. If the policies stated by the ever confused, and we've got to deal with this. What's going on up in that brain is freaking me out a little bit and should scare everybody. But the stated policies of Joe Biden, what he says he'll do, he's adopted Bolshevik Bernie's
let me do
socialism.
This. Handy, let me do this.
Plagiarized it.
Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen. We have a soundbite of Joe Biden when asked whether or not he was going to take a cognitive test. Watch how he responds.
Have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say?
So there he is, Sean. There's the guy who wants to be...
You want to know what makes it funnier? He said in an earlier interview, like a month earlier, he said, I take those tests regularly. Of course I've been tested cognitive. Of course I have. I get tested regularly. And I'm like, okay, here's the sad part. He probably forgot what he said. Now, we don't see him a whole lot. And every time we do see him, there's usually some hiccup, right, from him. But it just cracks me up. But on the other hand, you know what? He's got the entire media establishment Democratic Party behind him. And he's done 2 press conferences in like 140 days. Eric Bolling, that should send chills up and down the spine.
Well, Sean, I want to see.
American.
I want to see the debate. I want to see the man stand up, go toe to toe with President Trump, and see what he has, whether or not he has lost a step or not. Sean, I don't have a ton of time. I want to have some fun with you. Can we do this? We have a little fun here. You got a minute?
You do whatever you want. I am at your.
What is Hannity? First of all, for the record, we've been on the air in a year and a half now. I've had O'Reilly on. I've had Megyn Kelly on. Why does it take my one of my best friends in the world a year and a half to get on my show. I'm not sure. What is Hannity? My audience wants to know, what does Hannity listen to on his playlist? What does Hannity do in a day?
Oh, you want that question? Okay, I've always been a huge country music fan. I really have. You know, lately, as I've gotten older a little bit in life, I was raised Catholic. I went to 12 years of Catholic school. I've really gotten into more Christian contemporary music more than I ever thought I would. If you ever watch the videos, Michael W. Smith is a great friend of mine. We did concerts together to raise money for the military. He's been so generous in my life. They got the church called Hillsong Church. It was started in Australia. What's amazing when you watch the videos are all of these young people. The music's phenomenal, with meaning. If you believe, like I do, I'm a Christian. You know, God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son, Jesus. I believe all that. And I listen to this music, and I find that it kind of pulls me out of this world, at least for a little while. You got to admit, the world of news and politics, this is a blood sport. This is a daily war. And a lot of these people play to keeps, but that brings me a certain peace. So I like country, I like Christian contemporary. I'm not a big classical. I like all old rock that I grew up with.
Me too, Sean.
I like that too.
Me too. You can't pull Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, and the Who out of Bowling. But listen, are you going to run for elected office?
You know what? You ever see the movie A Gladiator? I did this the other night on a podcast, just having fun. The worst part is like movies like, okay, Gladiator, Braveheart, Passion of the Christ. I watched them over and over again because they moved me. And I remember when Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, says to General Maximus, do you not accept this great honor? In other words, when I die, I'm going to empower you to restore Rome to its great self. And he goes, with all my heart, no. If you're a friend of mine, Eric Bolling, don't ever ask me if I want to enter politics, because with all my heart, no. Because
that's a yes. I'll take that as a definite maybe.
That's not a yes.
I'll take that as a definite maybe. Hannity, I used to fill in for O'Reilly and Hannity. They used to come up against each other. Right, one led into the other. Right. What a different experience that was. I was doing it simultaneously sometimes, like in the same week. It was just wild, the different shows. How is it? Bill's gone, left a big void. You filled that void. Tell us a little bit. I've got a minute and a half or so. Tell us about Fox and what's going on at Fox Primetime. You still are the anchor there. You're the most watched cable news show in history.
Look, I honestly, Eric, I can't believe that I survived this long. I'm not going to lie. When I started my radio journey, all I know is this red light went on and all this stuff comes flying out of me. And I was like, wow, I found my passion. And I actually, you know, I was terrible when I started, but I loved it. Awful. Run out of town, deservedly so. I got my first job in Huntsville, Alabama for 19 grand a year in 1990 after I started in 1987. And I never ever dreamed I'd be this blessed. And I look at the fact that I can be on radio 3 hours a day, Fox 1 hour a night. I feel blessed. I'm grateful. I'm humbled. You know, people immediately put the book at #1. I didn't write it to be #1. I wrote the book as a call to a nation, all hands on deck, because in 3 months, we're going to hear these words. We can now project. How do you want it to end? That Donald Trump's been reelected, the 45th president of the United States, like I do? Or Joe Biden, the confused, the corrupt, won the 46th? Everything is riding on it. Yeah. The biggest, greatest choice election in history. And I will tell you, it is America and the world on the brink. The subtitle of Live Free and Die. Yep. It's on Hannity.com, Amazon.com. But it is the definitive guide. I want everyone to know what's at stake, what's made America great, what the Democrats are trying has been tried before and failed. These are promises that will never be fulfilled. Look at Social Security, Medicare. Yep. Look at Obamacare. Yep. Look, they can't even keep people safe in cities.
Sean.
And then the other side of it is we have another vision, and that's the Trump vision that worked, and it is working, and will work again.
Let me do this, guys, because I ran out of time, but I want the book, Live Free or Die, #1 on Amazon immediately. It'll go right to the top of the New York Times bestseller list. Sean Hannity, it took 10 years to write another book. Get this book. Go out and get this. Get this. Absolutely give it to your friends. Sean, one quick story. I've been with Sean 100 times at dinner. Every single time a check comes, he grabs it. You can't fight Sean for that check. And guess what he does? He leaves the biggest. This man you're looking at right there has a heart the size of Cleveland. Thank you, Sean. Sean Hannity, live free or die.
You know why I do? Because I was a dishwasher, and my father was a waiter, and my mom was a prison guard. That's why.
Sean Hannity, everybody, live free or die. Thank you, Sean.
Eric, you're a dear friend. Thank you so much. Congrats on all your success. I know you're doing great where you are, and we need to see each other more often.
Okay, brother. Thank you.